Hey everyone, it's Melissa. Today's video is about, well, it's a mindless video, and that's what I needed. This past week has been really hard. We've had COVID in the family, not Doug and myself, but we did have to quarantine and get tested. But family members and most of the grandchildren and some sicker than others, and it's just been real hard. So I just didn't feel like getting on here and making a video, but I didn't feel like getting on Instagram. I just wanted to mindlessly sit. I watched a lot of TV, and I did watch YouTube. I didn't leave comments, but for some reason, seeing my friends put on their makeup and show clothes, show hair, whatever they wanted to talk about, it was just calming. I enjoyed doing that. So, yeah, I appreciate my YouTube family. They don't realize it that I was watching them, but it did help a whole lot to be able to just sort of distract myself. My family's going to be okay. It's going to be a long haul a bit for some, but you know, everybody's going to be fine. So spent a lot of time on my knees, a lot of time praying, a lot of time, you know, cooking and taking food over and just doing whatever we could from a distance to help them. It was hard. It's still hard, but a corner has been turned, so I'm very, very grateful about that. Anyway, so doing just a little mindless, superficial video today is very helpful for me. So what it's about is about primers, face primers. Now, I have never been a big fan of face primers. I don't like a lot of products on my face. In the morning, I just use my vitamin C serum after I wash. I use my vitamin C serum, then I use a Bougie Exfoderm, and then some sunscreen. And I still don't, there's not a favorite sunscreen I have. You know, people will ask me, what's your favorite? I don't have one. I'm just going around trying different ones that are the least greasy as possible. And then I put on foundation, and that's it, except for some blush on top. Of course, I put concealer around my eyes, but I'm talking about just around on my skin. So just foundation is all I've ever used. And the reason is because a lot of layers on my skin weighs it down. It makes me have jowls. It makes my skin sag. It just is a lot less firm looking if I don't put a whole lot on my skin. It just does. It weighs it down. So that's why I just try to keep it as simple as I possibly can. But I have tried face primers before. I thought they were heavy. I didn't like any of them, and it just seemed like it made my skin greasier. It just didn't seem like it did the job it was supposed to do. But I was intrigued with the e.l.f. Putty primers, so I thought I want to try them. And there's two of them. There's the Poreless Putty primer. They're both putty primers, and I thought, well, you know, that sounds kind of good. That sounds like it wouldn't be too heavy on my skin, that maybe it would just kind of firm my skin, you know, a putty, just kind of firm it up, make it real tight. I was hoping anyway. And the other one is the matte putty primer. So I didn't know which one was going to be better, so I tried them both. I wanted to see if one was better than the other, or if either one of them were better than no primers. So what I did was I did experiments. Started this last week, so it's hard to remember some of it. And I did a voiceover on what I did yesterday or the day before. And so I'll try to remember what I said about that. I wore the same makeup every day. I did the same lighting every day when I put it on, and then when I showed it at the very same time in the evening at 8 o'clock in front of a natural window in front of natural light, holding my camera on my cell phone. And so I did it all the same each day, so it would be accurate. I even did the eye makeup the same and the lipstick the same, because I didn't want, like, if there was one eye look that looked better than the other one, I didn't want it to subconsciously make me think that my skin looked better just because maybe my eyes looked better or brighter or something. So I did it all the same across, you know, each day following the other. So I felt like I got a pretty good idea, and I do have some thoughts on it, but what I'm going to do right now is show you what I did, and I have narrated it. This one is the Poreless Putty Primer. It's the pink one. It's hard hard to tell that it's pink. But I got the amount that they recommended. I watched some videos on how to do it on the e.l.f. site, and they said to press it in and spread it out that way. Let the fingers kind of warm it, since it's sort of a putty consistency, and spread it out that way. So that's what I was trying to do. I wanted to put it around my eyes to see how well it would be as a primer around my eyes too. Okay, there I am. I've got on my eye makeup, and so now I'm putting on my foundation, my Lancome Stick Foundation. That's what I used on all the days to keep it even. I found that I needed to put on a little bit more than usual, which sort of surprised me. I thought that the primer would make me use less, but it seemed to not, I don't know, it seemed to soak in my foundation, and I kept having to put more in. So I did have to use more foundation on the Poreless primer. I added quite a bit. And I didn't put on lipstick with this first day, but I thought it looked nice. It didn't look too greasy. It looked a little greasier than usual if I hadn't used it, but I still thought, there it is with some light on. I tried to do it without light and with light, or the makeup mirror light. I still had the camera lights, but I thought it looked nice, but I thought it looked a little greasy. There it is at 8 o'clock at night, standing in front of the window. And it looks like it's worn. It doesn't look like it's worn better than without to me. And we'll compare it later on, but it looks about the same at 8 o'clock at night as anything else would have. Okay, here's the next day, and this is the Matte Putty Primer. Doing it the same way as I did the previous day. There I am putting on the foundation. I'm trying to see if I had to do more than usual like I had to with the Poreless. The matte, I wondered if it would do a little bit better of not absorbing it. And I don't know, I kind of think I had to add extra with this version too. Whereas I don't have to seem to add as much if I don't use any primer. Yeah, I'm having to add quite a bit, more so than I usually do. I usually just make a few marks, and it just didn't seem to cover as well with either one of the primers. I'm kind of surprised about that. There, I went ahead and put on some lipstick so you could kind of see. I thought it made a real pretty finish. It looks a little, it doesn't look, it has some glow. It makes my skin look a little glowy. There it is, and then here it is without lights. But, you know, I think it's very comparable to the Poreless one. I don't know that there's a whole lot of difference. But it, you know, looked a little greasier. But this is at 8 o'clock that night, and you know, it's got some grease coming through, just like it didn't seem to stop it any. Neither one of them seemed to really stop it very much. I was trying to get in natural light at 8 o'clock at night. So that's what it looks like. You can see my skin through it. And then this is without any primer. I do feel like I got it on faster without the primer. It just seemed like it went over my skin better and covered better, and I used less product. That was kind of it. That's all I did. Then I put some lipstick on. This is what it looks like without primer. To me, it looks a little less greasy than with the two primers, but it's pretty close. And then without the light. I don't know, it's just hard to tell that there's much difference there, you know, that's without any primer at all. And then that's at 8 o'clock at night. And I noticed that the sun had kind of faded, so I went and tried to get into some strong light and natural light too, so you could kind of see. But it's definitely got some grease on it. But looking at it, yeah, I mean, it does. But I'm in a different light than I was with the other two. To me, it was comparable. It didn't seem like it was any worse than when I did use the Poreless primer or the matte primer. So anyway, on looking at it, I don't know if it showed or not, or if I even mentioned it enough or not, but I did feel like that these primers gave a bit of a finished look. Now, I don't know if it held my makeup on longer or not. I felt at the end of the day of most of them, of these two and without, that my skin was looking greasier. I would have to touch up to get my makeup to last through 7, 8 o'clock at night. I would have to touch up, I would have to powder, I would have to do a lot of things to get it to last. But I did feel like as I looked each day that I wore one of these, as I looked at myself throughout the day, I did feel like my makeup looked a little more polished. I didn't think it weighed my skin down. And at first I thought that it sort of made it look a little greasier, but that's just kind of the way this makeup, this stick foundation kind of looks on my skin anyway. It gives it a little bit of a glow type thing. So probably it didn't make it look any greasier. I did feel like I had to add more foundation on top of it to get it to look even out. It just seemed like it absorbed the foundation, so I felt like that was a negative. But once I got that foundation on and throughout the day as I would look, I thought my skin looked nice. I really did. And it's hard to tell at the very end of the day, but I would, you know, go to the mirror and look in the sunlight and everything, and I thought it looked pretty finished. So I will continue to wear these. Now, if I'm running out the door, because what I would do is I would put them on and let it sit. I would work on my eye makeup or do something else and let it dry really well before I put on my foundation. So if I'm in a hurry, I probably won't fool with it. I'll probably just put on that stick foundation and some eye makeup and go. But if I'm going to work, if I'm going to be filming here, if I'm going to be doing something where I want to look a little more polished, I think I will use this. The difference, I didn't see a lot of difference. Don't know if you could or not, but I didn't see a lot of difference. Maybe the Poreless was a little more moisturizing, but it didn't feel heavy. So what I will probably do is use up the Poreless in the wintertime and use up the Putty in the summertime when I'm greasier. I'm going to be drier this winter, so I will use the Poreless because it does seem to have a little more moisture to it. But I do know that on the days that I wore each of these, and was on Instagram. This was, last week before everybody got sick. The days that I was on Instagram, I did notice that people would say, your skin looks extra nice today. Is it a different makeup? I got, several comments like that. The next day I would use the other one. Well, now you've still got on that other makeup it must be the new makeup. What are you doing different? And it would be this primer. So I think it does have a place in my routine, maybe not necessarily every day. So I think what I'm going to do is, since it seemed to soak up so much of this stick foundation when I use these primers, I think I will try it on the liquid version of this. I think it's going to be pretty much the same formula, just in a liquid, and it's going to last on me the same, but I think it will spread easier, and possibly I won't have to use quite as much. This is expensive, and you use it up fast. You use up a stick faster than liquid foundation. So I have never tried the liquid version of this, but the liquid version of this, I'm going to give it a try with these primers. But I do like them. I do like it. If you haven't been pleased with primers before, I would say try one of these and see what you think, because they're e.l.f. You're not going to spend $300 on them. You're not going to spend a ton of money on them. So I think it would be worth trying. I'm very pleased. I like both of them. There you go. Thank you so much for watching. Please, please take care of yourselves. Stay safe. I really appreciate, especially on Instagram, all the thoughts and prayers for my family. We needed them. Like I said, Doug and I were on our knees every day praying. And so thank you for doing that with us and over us. It really helped, and I feel very, very good about things. So thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Take care and stay safe. Love you all. Bye-bye.